Imagine you get a call from a friend, someone you trust, and they ask you for help. Of course you agree, why wouldn't you? They're your friend. But what if that person that you thought you could trust was hatching an evil plan all along? That is exactly what happened to Georgia Williams. Let's talk about it. Before we start, I just want to let you know that what happened to Georgia was truly horrific. I will not go into great detail, of course, but viewer discretion is advised. Georgia was a bright young girl. At only 17, it seemed she had her life already figured out. She was an air cadet and dreamed of joining the RAF. She grew up in a stable home. Her dad was a police officer. She was the head girl at her school. As people later said, Georgia was kind and helpful. Tragically, Georgia met a guy through her sister that was the polar opposite of her. Nonetheless, somehow Georgia became friends with 23-year-old Jaimie Reynolds. Police later found out that Reynolds had asked Georgia out multiple times, but she always declined. Until one fateful day, Georgia received a text from Jaimie, asking her if she would help him with a photo shoot. It was no secret that Jaimie wanted to become a photographer, and the shoot would take place at his parents' house, so really, there was not a single reason Georgia shouldn't have trusted that she was safe. Other girls in Georgia's friend group had posed for Reynolds before, and they were all fine. What the innocent young girl didn't know was that while Jaimie was planning a photo shoot, he wasn't planning on her surviving it. Jaimie, at some point in their friendship, had become obsessed with Georgia, and he couldn't handle her rejection. He spent the 5 months before he asked her over, writing in great detail how he would murder Georgia. He even built a hanging mechanism in the loft of his parents' house that he would use to kill her. At around 8 p.m. on May 26 in 2013, Georgia left her parents' house and went over to Jaimie. He only lived a 5-minute walk away. What happened there we actually know in great detail, because Jaimie made sure to take pictures the entire time. We know that she put on heels and a pair of shorts that Jaimie specifically bought for the occasion. He even made her put on red lipstick. He then made her climb on a box and put a noose around her neck. Well, actually, she did it. He photographed her doing it. And through all accounts, she was still smiling and happy at this point. She trusted him so deeply that she put a noose around her neck and climbed on a box. The betrayal she must have felt in her final moments is unimaginable. He took a couple of pictures of Georgia posing on the box, and then he stepped closer to her. Georgia probably thought he wanted to take close-ups, but he didn't. He kicked the box out from under her, and then this absolute monster stood there and took pictures of the 17-year-old girl while she slowly suffocated and struggled for her life. But Jaimie wasn't done. Far from it. Once she was dead, he cut a rope off and dragged her dead body into every room of the house. And he SA'd her multiple times, even on his parents' bed. And once more, he recorded everything with his camera. Police later found out Reynolds had been obsessed with redheads and snuff films. Once he was done with her body, he took off all her jewelry to keep as souvenirs. At this point, it was becoming quite late, and he took Georgia's phone and texted her mother that she was staying at a friend's for the night, to buy himself more time to get rid of the evidence. Reynolds then took Georgia's body into his car and dumped her in the woodlands. It would take 2 weeks for police to find her. After dumping her body, Reynolds fled into a hotel in Glasgow. Georgia's parents, meanwhile, called the police the next day when she didn't return. They asked her friends, but of course she hadn't stayed with any of them. The police immediately began searching for the girl. Once officers figured out that Georgia was set to meet with Reynolds, they immediately went to his house and kicked the door down after no one answered. And while they didn't find Reynolds, they found his camera, which he left behind. And they saw the images of Georgia's last moments. They soon found Jaimie hiding in his hotel and arrested him. And while he didn't tell them where Georgia's body was, they tracked the roads his car took, and that's how they found her. The camera wasn't the only thing police found in Reynolds' home. They also found a list of 32 women, all whom he personally knew. The police later said it was probably a hit list. They also found multiple stories he had written, all of them detailing how he would kill these women. One of them was called Georgia's Surprise. And as you can imagine, it was the thing he had written for 5 months. And the story added exactly up to what he had done to the 17-year-old. To make all of this even worse, if possible, Georgia's death could have very easily been prevented. Reynolds was known to the police. He had attacked another 17-year-old at his parents' house before, but the police left him off with a final warning. Even though he tried to strangulate her. He had thousands of snuff films, and he admitted to doctors that he was turned on by watching women being strangulated. It was actually his own stepdad that turned him into the police after he saw him doctoring images of girls he knew being strangulated and killed. Oh, and he even drove his car into a girl that spurred his advances. But the police didn't do anything. And this is important to mention. One of the doctors Reynolds talked to actually told police that he was a significant risk for the safety of women. Georgia's dad, Steve, was actually a murder detective before Georgia died. And it were his colleagues that told him of his daughter's death. He quit pretty much immediately afterwards. But Georgia's parents weren't done with the police. They actually battled to expose that the police made significant mistakes, and in 2015 a court decided that the police made a string of mistakes mistakes that left Reynolds free to roam the streets, and in the end, kill Georgia. 3 police officers and 1 civilian worker were disciplined, but all 4 kept their jobs. Georgia's mom, Lynette, actually wrote a book called Our Georgia. I'm gonna see if I can find a link and I'll post it down below if you want to read it. But let's move on to what happened to Reynolds. He was found guilty and given a whole life sentence, which is apparently pretty rare in the UK. But a judge said that not only was the crime planned and Reynolds was a severe danger to society, Georgia's death also wasn't quick. She suffered until her last moments. He appealed his sentence but got denied, and to this day is thankfully still in prison. Let me know what you think. I mean, obviously he's guilty, but the people, especially the police, definitely failed. He attacked at least 2 girls before he killed Georgia. His own stepfather called in on the police. Were those people punished harsh enough? Probably not. But let me know what you think down below. I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I hope to see you again in my next video. And don't forget, just because you think someone's your friend, doesn't mean they are.